everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Garbage Horror. Wait a minute. Doing something different here.
Yeah.
That's right. We are back for 2018. Now, 2017 has been hereby dubbed the cursed season. Ooh. Ooh.
You're so spooky.
Yes, I know. Well, we did that whole apology video previously about how Hurricane Nate screwed up our shooting schedule. That was part one of the catastrophes.
Right.
Part two was after recording a whole slew of reviews, we had an SD card error and lost all of our audio. So basically what you had was a bunch of reviews of us doing this and no audio.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining, but perhaps not the most useful thing we could have produced. And we just basically kind of gave up because by the time we got around to being able to redo them, we'd forgotten everything. We were reviewing to our nose so heavily. It didn't feel proper.
Right, and it would have had to have been after season.
It would already been after season, but after season.
After. It would have been next.
It would have been after a Christmas season, probably.
Probably.
So, yeah. Anyways, we're sorry about that. Lost season. We have a whole new editing process and a whole new setup right now. So we think we're on the right track. Fingers crossed. We got a lot of good stuff coming your way, including a lot of great reviews this year. We're very excited about the new season. We're going to be doing some haunts in the upstate of Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And, most importantly for us, we're going to be doing a bunch of haunts in the Chicago area this year. Very excited here. We're doing 6 different haunts. We are on the Lost Souls bus tour, October 5th and 6th. It is a wonderful, wonderful idea put together by Jace Palace, who will be playing the role of Brewster Bonesaw as our tour guide here. Very excited about meeting Brewster.
Yes.
Who would not be? Going to 6 major area haunts. Like I said, just so stoked. It's going to have free will included, transportation, which will have adult beverages on it.
Yes.
I can't even fathom this wonderful haunting experience I'm about to go on. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And so if the reviews sound a little... No,
no, we would go to them and then record after we got back.
Fair enough. Anyway, so that's coming up. Like I said, haunts from the upstate and a lot of the New Orleans area haunts. Some big changes this year in the New Orleans area haunt community. We've got a new Scream Park opening up. We've got changes at 13th Gate, changes at Rise, and we've got this review's target, New Orleans Nightmare House, the location the place that took over the location of the House of Shock. Now, for those who don't know or don't follow, the House of Shock closed last year, and they sold the location but not the name to the 13th Floor, a company that operates haunts all over the country.
Right.
And they decided to convert the place into New Orleans Nightmare House, which we just went to. We did. And I've been struggling like mad to think of what the hell I want to say.
Yeah.
Because every time I try to do a review, like in my head, like I'm going through my notes in my head, I keep like talking about what it's not, and that's not very helpful.
No.
You can't review a car by saying it's not a truck. End review. All right. Good job, everybody.
Yes.
Moving on. Because here's the thing. New Orleans Nightmare House is not the House of Shock.
No.
Let's be very clear about that. If you go there expecting the House of Shock, you're going to be very disappointed.
Right.
But if you go there expecting something completely new, you're also going to be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's maybe my frustration with it.
Yeah, I think that's true. Good points.
Okay.
There was no line.
Yes.
Part of that is the stage show is gone.
And yeah, part of that is they added a lot of dates. Like House of Shock would do like 12 dates a season tops.
Right.
And that would be if there was a very weekend-friendly October.
Right.
I think it usually did 8. They've expanded to doing, I think, 22.
Right.
Including some September dates, which House of Shock never did.
Right.
But yeah, there was...
And it may just be so early that people haven't gone yet.
Yeah, this was... We went on... it was opening night... Day after opening for it and opening night for the Mortuary.
Right.
So yeah, that was it was very early in the season. There was, like I said, no line.
Right.
Even though they did make us do the full Cattlegate system.
Which was kind of ridiculous. Yeah.
Hang on, I'm still doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty amusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least I laughed. That was half the battle. So yeah, but as far as the haunt, I mean, you know, I've always kind of wondered what would happen if you took all the devil-worshipping stuff out of the House of Shock.
Or most.
Or most of it, at least. You can still play Count the Pentagrams if you choose.
Yes.
You just won't find nearly as many, I admit.
Right.
We found a few. It was fun. But yeah, as far as what it would be a solid haunt. It's a good,
Right.
well-designed, well-decorated haunt.
Yes.
I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. House of Shock was always that.
Right.
And there's no noticeable drop-off in quality between the new parts
No.
and the parts that were classic House of Shock.
Right.
So, still very well designed, very well laid out. And the actors in it were very good.
Yes.
Now, to me, it felt understaffed.
Yes.
And I don't know if it really was or not. It's hard. It's always hard to judge.
Well, we did hear that they had a lot of actors not show up that night. So, you know.
We that's an unconfirmed rumor at best.
Okay.
But yeah, but basically we know that. But it felt a little understaffed compared to, especially the way the House of Shock was. House of
Right.
Shock at times felt crowded with
Yeah.
actors. In fact, it was overcrowded sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it definitely had a lot fewer actors, and there were definitely spaces where I kept thinking to myself, "Wow, if something came here, I'd be hosed.
Right.
It'd be over. I'd be hosed."
Yeah.
And nothing came from there. I mean, like, yeah, there's one part I remember we rounded like a hairpin turn, and for some reason I just drifted a little wide and got near what could have been a drop panel, and I'd have been like 2 inches away from it, and would have been totally screwed. But nothing came of that.
No.
So yeah. Now I gotta say, like I said, the actors that were there were doing a great job. There was one girl I remember who got dragged off by zombies.
Right.
In what was just a hell of a bump to do, dozens of times a night.
Right.
It looked very, very painful. It looked very visceral, and she did a great job taking that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wish she hadn't gotten up and pretended to be a zombie afterward.
I don't think she was even pretending to be a zombie, but she did move afterwards. Which,
If they dragged her and tossed her,
yeah.
and it was like, whoa, holy Christ!
Yeah. And then came after us.
And then she came after us, and it's like, no, if she
Well,
just
they did.
curled in the
Yeah.
corner and played injured, I'd been like, holy, is she okay?
Yeah.
I'd have been thinking about it for a while, but when
Exactly.
she got up, I was like, okay. So yeah, but still, I mean, it's kind of weird because I know we complained about how the House of Shock had gotten stale, and about the stage show and how it was holding up the queue line.
Right.
But those were definitely the House of Shock's hook.
Right.
And without those things, New Orleans Nightmare House doesn't really have a hook.
Yeah. It's kind of generic-y.
I don't want to say generic, because like I said, generic indicates not
That's-
good to me, but
No, I didn't say not good, and I put a Y on the end so it wouldn't be generic.
but it doesn't feel special. It doesn't have that marketing hook.
Yeah, I don't know that they have their thing. We've
No,
talked
exactly.
about their thing before, having a thing you're the only place that people see that thing.
Yeah.
And
What is their
there's-
thing? And part of the problem with that is, House of Shock announced their closure at the end of last season, and they changed the name of the Facebook page months ago, but then did nothing else to really announce or promote New Orleans Nightmare House as a brand.
Right.
They didn't even change the icon on the Facebook page
Until
a couple
August.
weeks ago.
End of August.
A couple weeks ago,
Yep.
pretty much. So we had no idea what New Orleans Nightmare House was supposed to be about,
Right.
and what made it different from every other haunt we ever go to. And that is something I think they can work on next year, but I think if they had really started honing on and started separating themselves and distancing themselves right at the time the announcement was made, they could have built their own brand, or at least more of their own brand,
Right.
and carried it into the actual season.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And that might have given them a chance to have a hook and have something unique and something that was special. And that would have made the experience all the better. Honestly, for me, I think this is kind of the trial run of New Orleans Nightmare House.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I know that from speaking with builders and managers and things, they are expecting to change some next year and grow each year in that way. So I'm looking forward to seeing the changes. I do feel like this is a test run, and it's kind of. I also know that they told us that they should be a lot more together,
Okay.
with actors and things. in October. So if you are seeing this now, wait a couple of weeks, let them fix some kinks. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of the catch-22s with this haunt, though, is because the gut says, for pure quality's sake, wait until later in season. They're still ironing out kinks.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. But from a cost standpoint,
yeah,
that is not as bright.
Right.
Because this is they've instituted a new pricing system. Because usually this is where we go, well, here's what the ticket prices are, and blah blah blah. Thank you, blah 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 blah. And we do that whole spiel. It's a little more difficult with them because they have per night ticket pricing.
Yeah, it's not just more difficult; it's downright confusing.
Now, here's the thing. We actually, because we're on like every email newsletter list for haunted attractions that exist anywhere in this country, we found out about a flash sale they were doing. It was $13 for 13 minutes, some random day.
Friday the 13th.
Oh, it was Friday the 13th, you're right.
Yeah.
And so we picked up our tickets for our group then. So we paid $13, and we're very happy with the deal we got.
Yes. However, our friend who came with us last minute.
Yeah, it was a last minute add-on, paid $31 at the door, which seems to be the price at the door, pretty much flat.
Yeah.
But if you buy the tickets online, they range from like $27.99 to $32.99, plus that's add $10 if you want to do a VIP thing, and then it's $10 more to completely skip the line.
Right.
There's like tiers, and
there's extra fees and stuff with that online purchase.
It gets real confusing, but basically there's variable pricing on the day. Like, interestingly, the most expensive night is the Saturday before Halloween, not Halloween night. Halloween night, I think, is $30. The Saturday before, the 26th, I believe, is $32.99. It's confusing.
Yeah.
And this is apparently a 13th floor thing. Now, one of the things I'm a bit remiss about, and things I worry about, is by taking out the stage show, by taking out the concert stage, and taking out the freak show, and all the other things that House of Shock was doing, and then raising the ticket price, at least on many nights.
Yeah. It
definitely comes across as charging more while giving less. I wasn't a fan of the stage show, admittedly.
Correct.
We've been over this. Go back to the previous reviews for House of Shock, just not the 2017 one that doesn't exist.
Obviously.
But go back to the other ones, you'll see what we mean here. We weren't fans of it because it really choked the throughput. We thought they should have made it optional, maybe move it to the side. We talked about all these ideas. So yeah, we weren't huge fans of it. But yeah, there were a lot of people who were. We're not every customer. And if you were someone who enjoyed it, yeah, you may well be paying a higher ticket price to get less haunt experience through New Orleans Nightmare House.
Yeah.
And that's something to consider. As far as haunt timing, the first section, the haunt was 7 minutes. The entire haunt was 17 minutes. That's roughly what the House of Shock was.
Mm-hmm.
I think the actual divides in the sections were kept over from the original House of Shock. As far as how much is new, I think you and I agreed from a feeling perspective, maybe not a physical perspective.
Right.
It felt 35% new.
Yeah.
About right.
Or at least gone.
One thing I did find very interesting was when you first go into the haunt, there's a brief haunt section, but then they navigate you into a photo booth area where you get your picture taken and then get led into the rest of the haunt. I'm not a big fan of buying the pictures after the fact.
No.
You don't have to do that. You can actually download them for free on the website after you're done. It actually says it on the thing, but yeah, they're obviously going to try to steer you.
Right. They did tell us that this is where you go for the pictures afterwards. This is a concession stand. This is the merch booth. You can do all of that still anytime. Yeah,
and that's the other three things that were there was a little restaurant type thing, a little cafe. I think it was the same cafe, a merch booth, and a bar.
Yeah.
Those are the three things that were there. So, like I said, no concert stage, no stage show.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, it's a judgment call to you whether or not it's worth it. This more than any other haunt, I think we're going to review.
Yeah.
It's really up to you.
Right.
It's a very, very good haunt. Whether it's worth the amount of money you're going to pay on the night you're going to go.
Yeah. That depends on you.
That really does depend on you, and it's going to depend upon heavily how you feel about entering this uncanny valley with House of Shock stuff.
Yeah.
Where it is and it isn't in the same breath.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
So if you're comfortable with that, that's something you enjoy, that's something you want to do, then Godspeed. If it's not something you're interested in, there are a lot of other things in the area, and we'll be reporting on them.
Exactly.
Well, anything else you want to say? I think that's about as best as we're going to do.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not an easy start to the season in terms of trying to articulate our opinions.
No. Very ambiguous.
Ambiguous?
Ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
It's a new word.
All right. Put Mr. Dictionary Man, put that one down. Well, when that happens, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Garbage Horror Haunt Review 2018 covering New Orleans Nightmare House. We will see you guys next time.